Zurich cities defined. Zürich is the largest city in Switzerland and the capital of the canton of Zürich. It is located in north-central Switzerland at the northwestern tip of Lake Zürich. As of January 2020, the municipality has 434,335 inhabitants, the urban area 1.315 million 2009, and the Zürich metropolitan area 1.83 million 2011. Zürich is a hub for railways, roads, and air traffic. Both Zurich Airport and Zürich's main railway station are the largest and busiest in the country. Permanently settled for over 2,000 years, Zürich was founded by the Romans, who called it Tiricum. However, early settlements have been found dating back more than 6,400 years, although this only indicates human presence in the area and not the presence of a town that early. During the Middle Ages, Zürich gained the independent and privileged status of imperial immediacy and, in 1519, became a primary centre of the Protestant Reformation in Europe under the leadership of Huldrych Zwingli. The official language of Zürich is German, but the main spoken language is Zürich German, the local variant of the Alemannic Swiss German dialect. Many museums and art galleries can be found in the city, including the Swiss National Museum and Kunsthaus. Schauspielhaus Zürich is considered to be one of the most important theatres in the German-speaking world. Zürich is home to many financial institutions and banking companies. In German, the city name is written Zurich and pronounced stress tsy lengthened r small cap high c cedilla in Swiss Standard German, or stress tsy lengthened small cap turned r small cap high c cedilla listen in German Standard German. In the local dialect, the name is pronounced without the final consonant as Zürich stressed Zyri, although the adjective remains Zürcherin. The city is called Zurich zy small cap turned rik in French, Zurigo dzu stress ri lengthened go in Italian, and Tirit tu stress ritc curl listen in Romansh. The name is traditionally written in English as Zurich, without the umlaut. It is pronounced Jur-ik or Zor-ik. The earliest known form of the city's name is Tiricum, attested on a tombstone of the late 2nd century AD, in the form St. Aetioter set ensis Tiricum tax post. The name is interpreted as a derivation from a given name, possibly the Gaulish personal name Tirose, for a reconstructed native form of the toponym of *Tiricum. The Latin stress on the long vowel of the Gaulish name, t upsilon stress ri lengthened ko tilde lengthened, was lost in German stress tsy lengthened r small cap high c cedilla, but is preserved in Italian dzu stress ri lengthened go and in Romansh tu stress ritc curl. The first development towards its later Germanic form is attested as early as the 6th century with the form Zürichi. From the 9th century onward, the name is established in an Old High German form Zurich 857 in Villa Zuri, 924 in Zurich Kurtum, 1416 Zurich Stadt. In the early modern period, the name became associated with the name of the Tigurini, and the name Tigurum rather than the historical Tiricum is sometimes encountered in modern Latin contexts. History. Early history. Settlements of the Neolithic and Bronze Age were found around Lake Zürich. Traces of pre-Roman Celtic Latin settlements were discovered near the Lindenhof, a morainic hill dominating the SC&W waterway constituted by Lake Zurich and the river Limette. In Roman times, during the conquest of the Alpine region in 15 BC, the Romans built a castellum on the Lindenhof. Later here was erected Tiricum, a toponym of clear Celtic origin, a tax-collecting point for goods trafficked on the Limette, which constituted part of the border between Gallia Belgica from AD 90 Germania Superior and Rhaetia. This customs point developed later into a vicus. After Emperor Constantine's reforms in AD 318, the border between Gaul and Italy. Two of the four Praetorian prefectures of the Roman Empire was located east of Tyricum, crossing the river Linth between Lake Whelan and Lake Zürich, where a castle and garrison looked over Tyricum's safety. The earliest written record of the town dates from the 2nd century, with a tombstone referring to it as to the Statio Geraistis Quadragesima Galliarum Zurich post for collecting the 2.5% value tax of the Gallii, discovered at the Lindenhof. In the 5th century, the Germanic Alemanni tribe settled in the Swiss plateau. The Roman castle remained standing until the 7th century. A Carolingian castle, built on the site of the Roman castle by the grandson of Charlemagne, Louis the German, is mentioned in 835 in Castro Cercino Ixta Fluvium Lindemasi. Louis also founded the Fraumünster Abbey in 853 for his daughter Hildegard. He endowed the Benedictine convent with the lands of Zürich, Uri, and the Albis forest, and granted the convent immunity, placing it under his direct authority. In 1045, King Henry Roman III granted the convent the right to hold markets, collect tolls, and mint coins, and thus effectively made the abbess the ruler of the city. Zurich gained imperial immediacy rights in Mittelbar, becoming an imperial free city in 1218 with the extinction of the main line of the Zechringer family, and attained a status comparable to statehood. During the 1230s, a city wall was built enclosing 38 hectares, when the earliest stone houses on the Renway were built as well. The Carolingian castle was used as a quarry, as it had started to fall into ruin. Emperor Frederick Roman II promoted the abbess of the Fraumünster to the rank of a duchess in 1234. The abbess nominated the mayor, and she frequently delegated the minting of coins to citizens of the city. The political power of the convent slowly waned in the 14th century, beginning with the establishment of the Zunftord Nun Guild laws in 1336 by Rudolf Brunn, who also became the first independent mayor, i.e. not nominated by the abbess. An important event in the early 14th century was the completion of the Manus Codex, a key source of medieval German poetry. The famous illuminated manuscript, described as the most beautifully illumined German manuscript in centuries, was commissioned by the Manus family of Zurich, copied and illustrated in the city at some time between 1304 and 1340. Producing such a work was a highly expensive prestige project, requiring several years' work by highly skilled scribes and miniature painters, and it clearly testifies to the increasing wealth and pride of Zurich citizens in this period. The work contains 6 songs by Suskind von Trimberg, who may have been a Jew, since the work itself contains reflections on medieval Jewish life, though little is known about him. The first mention of Jews in Zurich was in 1273. Sources show that there was a synagogue in Zurich in the 13th century, implying the existence of a Jewish community. With the rise of the Black Death in 1349, Zurich, like most other Swiss cities, responded by persecuting and burning the local Jews, marking the end of the first Jewish community there. The second Jewish community of Zurich, formed towards the end of the 14th century, was short-lived, and Jews were expulsed and banned from the city from 1423 until the 19th century. Archaeological findings. A woman who died in about 200 BC was found buried in a carved tree trunk during a construction project at the current school complex in March 2017 in Aussersill. Archaeologists revealed that she was approximately 40 years old when she died, and likely carried out little physical labor when she was alive. A sheepskin coat, a belt chain, a fancy wool dress, a scarf, and a pendant made of glass and ember beads were also discovered with the woman. Old Swiss Confederacy. On 1 May 1351, the citizens of Zurich had to swear allegiance before representatives of the cantons of Lucerne, Schwyz, Uri, and Unterwalden, the other members of the Swiss Confederacy. Thus, Zurich became the fifth member of the Confederacy, which was at that time a loose confederation of de facto independent states. Zurich was the presiding canton of the Diet from 1468 to 1519. This authority was the executive council and lawmaking body of the Confederacy from the Middle Ages until the establishment of the Swiss federal state in 1848. Zurich was temporarily expelled from the Confederacy in 1440 due to a war with the other member states over the territory of Toggenburg, the Old Zurich War. Neither side had attained significant victory when peace was agreed upon in 1446, and Zurich was readmitted to the Confederation in 1450. Zwingli started the Swiss Reformation at the time when he was the main preacher in the 1520s at the Grossmünster. He lived there from 1484 until his death in 1531. The Zurich Bible, based on that of Zwingli, was issued in 1531. The Reformation resulted in major changes in state matters and civil life in Zurich, spreading also to a number of other cantons. Several cantons remained Catholic and became the basis of serious conflicts that eventually led to the outbreak of the Wars of Cappel. During the 16th and 17th centuries, the Council of Zurich adopted an isolationist attitude, resulting in a second ring of imposing fortifications built in 1624. The 30 Years' War which raged across Europe motivated the city to build these walls. The fortifications required a lot of resources, which were taken from subject territories without reaching any agreement. The following revolts were crushed brutally. In 1648, Zurich proclaimed itself a republic, shedding its former status of a free imperial city. In this time the political system of Zurich was an oligarchy patriciate. The dominant families of the city were the following ones: Bonstetten, Brunn, Bockley, Escher-Valm-Glas, Escher-Valm-Lütz, Herzl, Jory or von Jory, Kultsperger, Landenberg, Mace, Mayer von Nanau, Müllner, von Orly. The Helvetic Revolution of 1798 saw the fall of the ancient regime. Zurich lost control of the land and its economic privileges, and the city and the canton separated their possessions between 1803 and 1805. In 1839, the city had to yield to the demands of its urban subjects, following the Zurich of 6 September. Most of the ramparts built in the 17th century were torn down, without ever having been besieged, to allay rural concerns over the city's hegemony. The Treaty of Zurich between Austria, France, and Sardinia was signed in 1859. Modern history. Zurich was the federal capital for 1839–40, and consequently the victory of the Conservative Party there in 1839 caused a great stir throughout Switzerland. But when in 1845 the Radicals regained power at Zurich, which was again the federal capital for 1845–46, Zurich took the lead in opposing the Sonderbund cantons. Following the Sonderbund War and the formation of the Swiss federal state, Zurich voted in favor of the federal constitutions of 1848 and of 1874. The enormous immigration from the country districts into the town from the 1830s onwards created an industrial class which, though settled in the town, did not possess the privileges of burghership and consequently had no share in the municipal government. First of all, in 1860, the town schools, hitherto open to settlers only on paying high fees, were made accessible to all. Next, in 1875, 10 years' residence ipso facto conferred the right of burghership, and in 1893 the 11 outlying districts were incorporated within the town proper. When Jews also began to settle in Zurich following their equality in 1862, the Israelitisch Kultusgemeinde Zurich was founded. Extensive developments took place during the 19th century. From 1847, the Spanish Berkeley-Bahn, the first railway on Swiss territory, connected Zurich with Baden, putting the Zurich Hauptbahnhof at the origin of the Swiss rail network. The present building of the Hauptbahnhof, the main railway station, dates to 1871. Zürich's Bahnhofstrasse Station Street was laid out in 1867, and the Zurich Stock Exchange was founded in 1877. Industrialization led to migration into the cities and to rapid population growth, particularly in the suburbs of Zurich. The Quayenlagen are an important milestone in the development of the modern city of Zurich, as the construction of the new lakefront transformed Zurich from a small medieval town on the rivers Limmat and Sill to an attractive modern city on the Zurich seashore, under the guidance of the city engineer Arnold Bulkley. In 1893, the 12 outlying districts were incorporated into Zurich, including Ossersivel, the workmen's quarter on the left bank of the Sivel, and additional land was reclaimed from Lake Zurich. In 1934, 8 additional districts in the north and west of Zurich were incorporated. Zurich was accidentally bombed during World War II. As persecuted Jews sought refuge in Switzerland, the SIG Israelite Community of Switzerland raised financial resources. The Central Committee for Refugee Aid, created in 1933, was located in Zurich. The canton of Zurich did not recognize the Jewish religious communities as legal entities and therefore as equal to national churches until 2005. Coat of arms. The blue and white coat of arms of Zurich is attested from 1389 and was derived from banners with blue and white stripes in use since 1315. The first certain testimony of banners with the same design is from 1434. The coat of arms is flanked by 2 lions. The red schwenkel on top of the banner had varying interpretations. For the people of Zurich it was a mark of honor granted by Rudolf I. Zurich's neighbors mocked it as a sign of shame, commemorating the loss of the banner at Winterthur in 1292. Today, the canton of Zurich uses the same coat of arms as the city. Politics. City districts. The previous boundaries of the city of Zurich before 1893 were more or less synonymous with the location of the old town. 2 large expansions of the city limits occurred in 1893 and in 1934, when the city of Zurich merged with many surrounding municipalities that had been growing increasingly together since the 19th century. Today, the city is divided into 12 districts known as Kreise in German, numbered 1 to 12, each one of which contains between 1 and 4 neighborhoods. Kreis 1, known as Allstedt, contains the Old Town, both to the east and west of the start of the Limmat. District 1 contains the neighborhoods of Hochschulen, Rathaus, Lindenhof, and City. Kreis 2 lies along the west side of Lake Zurich and contains the neighborhoods of Enjet, Wollishofen, and Leimbach. Kreis 3, known as Wiedeken, is between the Sichel and the Uedliberg and contains the neighborhoods of Alt-Wiedeken, Sichelfeld, and Friesenberg. Kreis 4, known as Ossersivel, lies between the Sichel and the train tracks leaving Zurich Hauptbahnhof and contains the neighborhoods of Wörth, Langstrasse, and Hard. Kreis 5, known as Industriequartier, is between the Limmat and the train tracks leaving Zurich Hauptbahnhof. It contains the former industrial area of Zurich, which has undergone large-scale rezoning to create upscale modern housing, retail, and commercial real estate. It contains the neighborhoods of Deuerbestschule and Escher-Wyss. Kreis 6 is on the edge of the Zurichberg, a hill overlooking the eastern part of the city. District 6 contains the neighborhoods of Oberstrasse and Unterstrasse. Kreis 7 is on the edge of the Idlisberg hill as well as the Zurichberg, on the eastern side of the city. District 7 contains the neighborhoods of Fluntern, Hattingen, and Herslanden. These neighborhoods are home to Zurich's wealthiest and more prominent residents. The neighborhood Wiedeken also belongs to District 7. Kreis 8, officially called Riesbach, but colloquially known as Seefeld, lies on the eastern side of Lake Zurich. District 8 consists of the neighborhoods of Seefeld, Mühlebach, and Weinig. Kreis 9 is between the Limmat to the north and the Uedlerberg to the south. It contains the neighbourhoods Altstetten and Albisrieden. Kreis 10 is to the east of the Limmat and to the south of the Herngerberg and Kefferberg hills. District 10 contains the neighbourhoods of Hern and Wittgingen. Kreis 11 is in the area north of the Herngerberg and Kefferberg and between the Glatt Valley and the Katz and Seekatz Lake. It contains the neighbourhoods of Foltern, Oerlikon, and Seebach. Kreis 12, known as Schwemdingen, is located in the Glatt Valley on the northern side of the Zurichberg. District 12 contains the neighbourhoods of Satlen, Schwemdingen, Mit, and Herzenbach. Most of the district boundaries are fairly similar to the original boundaries of the previously existing municipalities before they were incorporated into the city of Zürich. Government. The City Council Stadtrat constitutes the executive government of the city of Zürich and operates as a collegiate authority. It is composed of 9 councillors, each presiding over a department. Departmental tasks, coordination measures, and implementation of laws decreed by the municipal council are carried out by the city council. The regular election of the city council by any inhabitant valid to vote is held every 4 years. The mayor German, Stadtpräsidentin, is elected as such by a public election by a system of majors, while the heads of the other departments are assigned by the collegiate. Any resident of Zurich allowed to vote can be elected as a member of the city council. In the mandate period 2018-2022 legislature, the city council is presided by Mayor Corinne Mauch. The executive body holds its meetings in the City Hall German, Stadthaus, on the left bank of the Limmat. The building was built in 1883 in Renaissance style. As of May 2018, the Zurich City Council was made up of 3 representatives of the SB Social Democratic Party, one of whom is the mayor, 2 members each of the Green Party and the FDP Free Democratic Party, and 1 member each of GLP Green Liberal Party and AL Alternative Left Party, giving the left parties a combined 6 out of 9 seats. The last regular election was held on 4 March 2018. Claudia Kuchkurti is town chronicler Stadtschreiberin since 2012, and Peter Sale is legal counsel Rechtskonsulent since 2000 for the city council. Parliament. The municipal council Gemeinderat holds the legislative power. It is made up of 125 members Gemeinderat/Gemeinderätin, with elections held every 4 years. The municipal council decrees regulations and bylaws that are executed by the city council and the administration. The sessions of the municipal council are held in public. Unlike those of the city council, the members of the municipal council are not politicians by profession, but are paid a fee based on their attendance. Any resident of Zurich allowed to vote can be elected as a member of the municipal council. The legislative body holds its meetings in the Town Hall Rathaus, on the right bank of the Limmat opposite to the City Hall Stadthaus. The last election of the municipal council was held on 4 March 2018 for the mandate period of 2018-2022. As of May 2018, the municipal council consists of 43 members of the Social Democratic Party SB, 21 the Liberals FDP, 17 members of the Swiss People's Party SBP, 16 Green Party GPS, 14 Green Liberal Party GLP, 10 Alternative List AL, and 4 members of the Evangelical People's Party EVP, giving the left parties an absolute majority of 69. Elections. National Council. In the 2019 federal election for the Swiss National Council, the most popular party was the SBS, which received 25.6% minus 6 of the vote. The next 4 most popular parties were the GPS 20.9% plus 9.7, GLP 15.7%, plus 6.4, SVP 13.7%, minus 4.3, the FDP 11.8%, minus 2.2, the AL 4% new, and the CVP 3.5% 0.2. In the federal election, a total of 110,760 voters were cast, and the voter turnout was 47.7%. In the 2015 federal election for the Swiss National Council, the most popular party was the SBS, which received 31.6% of the vote. The next four most popular parties were the SVP 18%, the FDP 14%, the GPS 10.7%, the GLP 9.2%. In the federal election, a total of 114,377 voters were cast, and the voter turnout was 46.2%. International relations. Twin towns and sister cities. Zurich is partnered with two sister cities, Kunming and San Francisco. Geography. Zurich is situated at 408 m 1339 ft above sea level on the lower northern end of Lake Zurich, Zurich Sea, about 30 km 19 mi north of the Alps, nestling between the wooded hills on the west and east side. The Old Town stretches on both sides of the Limmat, which flows from the lake, running northwards at first and then gradually turning into a curve to the west. The geographic and historic center of the city is the Lindenhof, a small natural hill on the west bank of the Limmat, about 720 300 ft north of where the river issues from Lake Zurich. Today the incorporated city stretches somewhat beyond the natural confines of the hills and includes some districts to the northeast in the Glatt Valley Glattal and to the north in the Limmat Valley Limmattal. The boundaries of the older city are easy to recognize by the Schanzengraben Canal. This artificial watercourse has been used for the construction of the third fortress in the 17th and 18th centuries. Topography. The municipality of Zurich has an area of 91.88 km to 35.48 sq mi, of which 4.1 km to 1.6 sq mi is made up of Lake Zurich. The area includes a section of the northern Swiss plateau. The banks of the Limmat constitute the densest part of the city. The river is oriented in the southeast-northwest direction, with the flat valley floor having a width of 2 to 3 km 1.2 to 1.9 mi. The partially channeled and straightened Limmat does not flow in the central part of the valley, but always along its right northeastern side. The Sill meets with the Limmat at the end of Platzspitz, which borders the Swiss National Museum. The Limmat reaches the lowest point of the municipality in Obringstringen at 392 m 1286 ft above sea level. On its west side, the Limmat Valley is flanked by the wooded heights of the Albis chain, which runs along the western border. The Uetliberg is, with 869 m 2851 ft above sea level, the highest elevation of the surrounding area. Its summit can be reached easily by the Uetlibergbahn. From the platform of the observation tower on the summit, an impressive panorama of the city, the lake, and the Alps can be seen. The northeast side of the Limmat Valley includes a range of hills, which marks the watershed between the Limmat and the Glatt. From the northwest to the southeast, the height of the mostly wooded knolls generally increases: the Gubrist 615 m or 2018 ft, the Herngerberg 541 m or 1775 ft, the Kefferberg 571 m or 1873 ft, the Zurichberg 676 m or 2218 ft, the Idlisberg 701 m or 2300 ft, and the Urschberg 696 m or 2283 ft. Between the Kefferberg and the Zurichberg is located the saddle of the Milchbach, about 470 m or 1540 ft, an important passage from the Limmat Valley to the Glatt Valley. The northernmost part of the municipality extends to the plain of the Glatt Valley and to the saddle which makes the connection between the Glattal and Viertel. Also, a part of the Katzensee Nature Reserve and the Bussesee, both of which are drained by the Katzenbach to Glatt, belong to the city. Urban area. The areas surrounding the Limmat are almost completely developed with residential, industrial, and commercial zones. The sunny and desirable residential areas in the hills overlooking Zurich, Wadberg, and Zurichberg, and the bottom part of the slope on the western side of the valley on the Uetliberg are also densely built. The green lungs of the city include the vast forest areas of Adlisberg, Zurichberg, Kefferberg, Herngerberg, and Uetliberg. Major parks are also located along the lakeshore Zurichhorn and in Jay, while smaller parks dot the city. Larger contiguous agricultural lands are located near Affoltern and Seebach. Of the total area of the municipality of Zurich in 1996, without the lake, 45.4% is residential, industrial, and commercial, 15.5% is transportation infrastructure, 26.5% is forest, 11% is agriculture, and 1.2% is water. Transport. Public transport. Public transport is extremely popular in Zurich, and its inhabitants use public transport in large numbers. About 70% of the visitors to the city use the tram or bus, and about half of the journeys within the municipality take place on public transport. The ZVV network of public transport contains at least 4 means of mass transit. Any train that stops within the network's borders, in particular the S-Bahn local trains, Zurich trams, and buses both diesel and electric, also called trolley buses and boats on the lake and river. In addition, the public transport network includes funicular railways and even the Luftseilbahn Adliswil-Felsenegg LAF, a cable car between Adliswil and Felsenegg. Tickets purchased for a trip are valid on all means of public transportation: train, tram, bus, boat. The Zurich Sea Schifffahrtsgesellschaft, commonly abbreviated to ZSG, operates passenger vessels on the Limmat and the Lake Zurich, connecting surrounding towns between Zurich and Rapperswil. Zurich is a mixed hub for railways, roads, and air traffic. Zurich Hauptbahnhof Zurich HB is the largest and busiest station in Switzerland and is an important railway hub in Europe. As of early 2020, Zurich HB served around 470,000 passengers and nearly 3,000 trains every day. Among the 16 railway stations and 10 additional train stops within Zurich's city borders, there are 5 other major passenger railway stations. 3 of them belong to the 10 most frequented railway stations in Switzerland: Stadelhofen, Oerlikon, Altstetten, Hardbruck, and in Jeh. The railway network is mainly operated by the Swiss Federal Railways SBBC FFFFS, but Zurich is also served by major Eurocity trains from the neighboring countries and is a destination for both French/Swiss TGV Lyria and German IC high-speed trains, as well as by Austrian Railjet. Zurich Airport. Zurich Airport is located less than 10 km 6.2 mi northeast of the city in Kloten. Zurich Airport has its own railway station, which is located underground. It is directly connected to Zurich and most of the major Swiss cities. Zurich Airport is served by more than 60 passenger airlines from around the world. It is also served by one cargo airline and is a hub for Swiss international airlines. There is also an airfield in Dubendorf. Road traffic. The Aon, A3, and Afur motorways pass close to Zurich. The Aon heads west towards Bern and Geneva and eastwards towards St. Gallen. The Afur leads northwards to Schaffhausen and southwards to Altdorf, connecting with the A2 towards Chiasso, and the A3 heads northwest towards Basel and southeast along Lake Zurich and Lake Whalen towards Sargans. Bicycle transport. In 2012, the City Council launched a program to improve the city's attractiveness for bicycle traffic. The so-called Masterplan Velo is part of the superordinate framework Stadtverkehr 2025, which shapes the future of the different means of transport. Research revealed that infrastructure and the social environment are essential factors in improving a city's appeal to bicycle traffic. Three main goals are specified. First, the modal share of bicycle traffic should be enhanced to twice the value of 2011 by 2015. Second, cyclists' safety should be improved to lower the overall accident risk. Third, cycling should be established as an everyday means of transport with a special focus on children and young people. In terms of infrastructure, the city aims to build up a network of distinctive bicycle routes in order to achieve these objectives. At a final stage, the network will consist of main routes Hauptrouten for everyday use and comfort routes Komfortrouten, with the latter focusing on leisure cycling. Additional measures, such as special velostation and providing bike-related services, are expected to help to further improve the quality. One of the key projects of the system is a tunnel beneath the tracks of the main railway station planned to combine a main connection with staff possibilities where commuters can leave their bikes throughout the day. Apart from infrastructural measures, further approaches are planned in the fields of communication, education, and administration. However, these efforts cause critique, mainly due to postponing. The institution of the bike tunnel at the main railway station, originally planned for 2016, is currently 2016 delayed to at least 2019. Pro Velo, a nationwide interest group, has publicly questioned whether the master plan already failed. The critique aims at badly governed traffic management at construction sites, missing possibilities to park bikes in the city, as well as rather diffident ambitions. In response, the responsible city department points to the big investments made every year and mentions ongoing discussions that would finally lead to even better results. Demographics. Population. There are 421,878 people living in Zurich as of 31 December 2020, making it Switzerland's largest city. Of registered inhabitants in 2016, 32%, 133,473 do not hold Swiss citizenship. Of these, German citizens make up the largest group with 8%, 33,548, followed by Italians 3.5%, 14,543. As of 2011, the population of the city, including suburbs, totaled 1.17 million people. The entire metropolitan area, including the cities of Winterthur, Baden, Brugg, Schaffhausen, Frauenfeld, Wetzikon, Rapperswil, Jona, and Zug, had a population of around 1.82 million people. Languages. The official formal language used by governmental institutions, print, news, schools and universities, courts, theaters, and in any kind of written form is the Swiss variety of Standard German, while the spoken language is Zurich German Zurichdeutsch, one of the several more or less distinguishable but mutually intelligible Swiss German dialects of Switzerland with roots in the medieval Alemannic German dialect groups. However, because of Zurich's national importance and therefore its existing high fluctuation, its inhabitants and commuters speak all kinds of Swiss German dialects. As of the December 2010 census, 69.3% of the population speaks diglossic Swiss German/Swiss Standard German as their mother tongue at home. Some 22.7% of inhabitants speak Standard German in their family environment at home, dramatically increasing according to the last census in 2000. 8.8% now speak English. Italian follows behind at 7.1% of the population, and French at 4.5%. Other languages spoken here include Bosnian 4.1%, Spanish 3.9%, Portuguese 3.1%, and Albania 2.3%. Multiple choices were possible. Thus, 20% of the population speak two or more languages at home. Religion. Before the Protestant Reformation reached Zurich, it was de jure and de facto Roman Catholic. The Protestant Reformation, led by Huldrych Zwingli, made Zurich both a theological centre and a stronghold of Protestantism in Switzerland. Another Swiss city with a comparable status was Geneva, the so-called Protestant Rome, where John Calvin and his Protestant reformers operated, as well as Basel. Zurich attracted other influential Protestant reformers like Heinrich Bullinger. Zwingli translated the Zurich Bible into the local variety of German and introduced the Reformation by winning support of the magistrates, the Princess Abbess Katharina von Zimmern, and the largely peasant population of the canton of Zurich. The canton unanimously adopted the Reformed tradition as represented by Zwingli. Religious wars between Catholics and Protestants tormented the Swiss Confederacy. Zwingli died for political and religious reasons by defending the canton of Zurich in the Battle of Cappel. Bullinger took over his role as the city's spiritual leader. In 1970, about 53% of the population were Swiss Reformed, while almost 40% were Roman Catholic. Since then, both large Swiss churches, the Roman Catholic Church and Swiss Reformed Church, have been constantly losing members, though for the Catholic Church the decrease started 20 years later, in around 1990. Nevertheless, for the last 20 years both confessions have been reduced by 10% to the current figures census 2010, 30% Roman Catholic and 26% Swiss Reformed organized in Evangelical Reformed Church of the Canton of Zurich. In 1970, only 2% of Zurich's inhabitants claimed to be not affiliated with any religious confession. In accordance with the loss by the large Swiss churches, the number of people declaring themselves as non-affiliated rose to 17% in the year 2000. In the last 10 years, this figure rose to more than 25%. For the group of people, being between 24 and 44 years old, this is as high as 1 in every third person. 5% of Zurich's inhabitants are Muslims, a slight decrease of 1% compared to the year 2000. The Mahmud Mosque, Zurich, situated in Forchstrasse, is the first mosque built in Switzerland. The population of Jewish ethnicity and religion has been more or less constant since 1970, at about 1%. The synagogue Zurich Lowenstrasse is the oldest and largest synagogue of Zurich. Social. The level of unemployment in Zurich was 3.2% in July 2012. In 2008, the average monthly income was about CHF 7,000 before any deductions for social insurances and taxes. In 2010, there were 12,994 cases on average per month of direct or indirect welfare payments from the state. Quality of living. Zurich often performs very well in international rankings, some of which are mentioned below. Monocle's 2012 Quality of Life Survey ranked Zurich first on a list of the top 25 cities in the world to make a base within. In 2019, Zurich was ranked among the 10 most livable cities in the world by Mercer together with Geneva and Basel. In FDI magazine's Global Cities of the Future 2021/22 report, Zurich placed 16th in the overall rankings, all categories. In the category mid-sized and small cities, Zurich was second overall, behind Wrocław, having also placed second in the subcategory human capital and lifestyle and third under business friendliness. In the category FDI strategy, overall relating to foreign direct investment, Zurich ranked 9th, behind such cities as New York, Montreal first and second, and Dubai at number 8. Main sites. Most of Zurich's sites are located within the area on either side of the Limmat between the main railway station and Lake Zürich. The churches and houses of the old town are clustered here, as are the most expensive shops along the famous Bahnhofstrasse. The Lindenhof in the old town is the historical site of the Roman castle and the later Carolingian imperial palace. Churches. Rosemunster Great Minster. According to legend, Charlemagne discovered the graves of the city's martyrs Felix and Regula and had built the first church as a monastery, start of current building around 1100. In the first half of the 16th century, the Great Minster was the starting point of the Swiss-German Reformation led by Huldrych Zwingli and Heinrich Bullinger, declared by Charlemagne imperial church, Romanesque crypt, Romanesque capitals in the church and cloister, choir windows by Augusto Giacometti 1932 and Sidmer Paul 2009, bronze doors by Otto Munch 1935 and 1950. Fraumünster Women's Minster Church of a former abbey for aristocratical women from southern Germany, which was founded in 853 by Louis the German for his daughter Hildegard. First church built before 874. The Romanesque choir dates from 1250 to 1270. The church enjoyed the patronage of kings and had the right of coinage from Zurich to the 13th century. After the Reformation, church and convent passed into the possession of the city. The most important jewelry, in addition to the largest organ in the canton with its 5,793 pipes and 92 stops or color windows, the window in the north transept of Augusto Giacometti 1945, the five-part cycle in the choir 1970, and the rosette in the southern transept 1978 are by Marc Chagall, also the Church of Zurich's largest choir with 100 and more singers. St. Peter Romanesque Gothic Baroque church built on remains of former churches from before the 9th century, with the largest church clock face in Europe, built 1538, baptismal font of 1598, Baroque stucco, individual stalls from the 15th century from city repealed monasteries with rich carvings and armrests, cantilever increased barrier between the nave and choir with built pulpit of 1705, pulpit sounding board about 1790, rich acanthus embellishment with Bible verse above the pulpit, 1971, new crystal chandelier modeled according 1710 design, organ in 1974 with 53 stops, bells 5 from 1880, the largest, a minor, without clapper, weighs about 6,000 kg, 13,228 lb, fireguard in the tower to the Middle Ages to 1911. Prediger Kirch is one of the four main churches of the old town, first built in 1231 A.D. as a Romanesque church of the then Dominican Prediger cloister nearby the Newmarkt. It was converted in the first half of the 14th century, and the choir rebuilt between 1308 and 1350. Due to its construction, and for that time unusual high bell tower, it was regarded as the most high Gothic edifice in Zurich. Museums. Zurich Museum of Art. The Museum of Art, also known as Kunsthaus Zurich, is one of the significant art museums of Europe. It holds one of the largest collections in classic modern art in the world: Munch, Picasso, Braque, Giacometti, etc. The museum also features a large library collection of photographs. Swiss National Museum. The National Museum, German, Landesmuseum, displays many objects that illustrate the cultural and historical background of Switzerland. It also contains many ancient artifacts, including stained glass, costumes, painted furniture, and weapons. The museum is located in the Platzspitz Park opposite to the Hauptbahnhof. Centre Le Corbusier, located on the shore of the Lake Zurich nearby Zurichhorn. The Centre Le Corbusier, also named Heidi Weber Museum, is an art museum dedicated to the work of the Swiss architect Le Corbusier inside the last house he designed. Rietberg Museum. The Rietberg Museum, situated in Gablerstrasse, is one of the great repositories of art and culture in Zurich. The museum also displays exhibits gathered from various corners of the world, bronze artifacts from Tibet, ceramics and jade, Indian sculpture, Chinese grave decorations, masks by African tribes, etc. Museum of Design. The Museum of Design is a museum for industrial design, visual communication, Architecture and Craft. It is part of the Department of Cultural Analysis of the Zurich University of the Arts. Haus Konstruktiv. The Haus Konstruktiv is a museum with Swiss-wide and international recognition. The museum is about constructive, concrete and conceptual art and design. It testimonies to Zurich's industrial architecture in the immediate vicinity of the main station. Uhrenmuseum Bayer. The Uhrenmuseum is located in the heart of the city. Documenting the history of timekeeping and timekeepers, the museum is home to a large collection of mechanical timepieces, as well as a collection of primitive time-keeping devices such as water clocks, sundials, and hourglasses. No-Show Museum. The No-Show Museum is the first museum dedicated to nothing and its various manifestations throughout the history of art. Guild houses. The guild houses, German Zunfthaus, are located along the Limmat downstream from the Grossmünster Meissen, also a porcelain and faience museum, Rudin, Hau, Safran, Schneidern, Schmeiden, Zimmerjuten, and some more. Tram Museum. The Tram Museum is located at Bergwies in Zurich's eastern suburbs and chronicles the history of Zurich's iconic tram system with exhibits varying in date from 1897 to the present day. North America Native Museum. The North American Native Museum specializes in the conservation, documentation, and presentation of ethnographic objects and art of Native American, First Nation, and Inuit cultures. FIFA Museum. The museum exhibits memorabilities from the world of association football, soccer, founded by the Fédération Internationale de Football Association. Parks and Nature. Zoological Garden. The Zoological Garden holds about 260 species of animals and houses about 200 animals. One can come across separate enclosures of snow leopards, India lions, clouded leopards, amur leopards, otters, and pandas in the zoo. Botanical Garden. The Botanical Garden houses about 15,000 species of plants and trees and contains as many as 3 million plants. In the garden, many rare plant species from southwestern part of Africa, as well as from New Caledonia, can be found. The University of Zurich holds the ownership of the Botanical Garden. Chinese Garden. The Chinese Garden is a gift by Zurich's Chinese partner town Kunming as remittance for Zurich's technical and scientific assistance in the development of the Kunming city drinking water supply and drainage. The garden is an expression of one of the main themes of Chinese culture, the three friends of winter, three plants that together brave the cold season: pine, bamboo, and plum. Uetliberg, located to the west of the city at an altitude of 813 m 667 ft above sea level, the Uetliberg is the highest hill and offers views over the city. The summit is easily accessible by train from Zurich main station. Kunsthandbau Construction Permit Office. In 1922, Augusto Giacometti won the competition to paint the entrance hall of Amtshaus, which the city promised to brighten up this gloomy room, which was once used as a cellar, and at the same time to alleviate the precarious economic situation of the local artists. Giacometti brought in the painters Jacob Bubler, Giuseppe Scartazzini, and Franz Ricklin for the execution of this fresco, which encompasses the ceiling and walls, thereby creating a unique color space that appears almost sacred in its luminosity. Architecture. Compared to other cities, there are few tall buildings in Zurich. The Municipal Building Regulations Article 9 limit the construction of high-rise buildings to areas in the west and north of the city. In the industrial district, Altstetten and Oerlikon, buildings up to 80 m 260 ft in height are allowed high-rise area I. In the adjacent high-rise areas Roman II and Roman III, the height is limited to 40 m 130 ft. Around the year 2000, regulations became more flexible and high-rise buildings were again planned and built. The People's Initiative 40 m 130 ft is enough, which would have reduced both the maximum height and the high-rise buildings area, was clearly rejected on 29 November 2009. At this time in Zurich, about a dozen high-rise buildings were under construction or in planning, including the Prime Tower as the tallest skyscraper in Switzerland at the time of its construction. There are numerous examples of brutalist buildings throughout the city, including the Swiss Mill Tower, which, at 118 is the world's tallest grain silo. World Heritage Sites. The prehistoric settlements at Attinge Alpenquai and Grosser Hafner and Kleiner Hafner are part of the prehistoric pile dwellings around the Alps, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Economy. In a 2009 survey by City Mayors, (COM), Zurich was ranked 9th among the world's 10 most powerful cities. In the 2017 Global Financial Centers Index, Zurich was ranked as having the 11th most competitive financial center in the world and second most competitive in Europe after London. The Greater Zurich area is Switzerland's economic center and home to many international companies. By far the most important sector in the economy of Zurich is the service industry, which employs nearly 4/5 of workers. Other important industries include light industry, machine and textile industries, and tourism. Located in Zurich, the Swiss Stock Exchange was established in 1877 and is nowadays the fourth most prominent stock exchange in the world. In addition, Zurich is the world's largest gold trading center. 10 of the country's 50 largest companies have their head offices in Zurich, among them ABB, UBS, Credit Suisse, Swiss Re and Zurich Financial Services. Most Swiss banks have their headquarters in Zurich, and there are numerous foreign banks in the Greater Zurich area. Gnomes of Zurich is a colloquial term used for Swiss bankers on account of their alleged secrecy and speculative dealing. Contributory factors to economic strength. The high quality of life has been cited as a reason for economic growth in Zurich. The consulting firm Mercer has for many years ranked Zurich as a city with the highest quality of life in the world. In particular, Zurich received high scores for work, housing, leisure, education, and safety. Local planning authorities ensure clear separation between urban and recreational areas, and there are many protected nature reserves. Zurich is also ranked the third most expensive city in the world, behind Hong Kong and Tokyo and ahead of Singapore. Zurich benefits from the high level of investment in education, which is typical of Switzerland in general and provides skilled labor at all levels. The city is home to 2 major universities, thus enabling access to graduates and high-technology research. Professional training incorporates a mix of practical work experience and academic study, while, in general, emphasis is placed on obtaining a good level of general education and language ability. As a result, the city is home to many multilingual people, and employees generally demonstrate a high degree of motivation and a low level of absenteeism. The employment laws are less restrictive as nearby Germany or France. Technology New Start, FinTech, and others in MedTech secure good seed and starter funding. The Swiss Stock Exchange. The Swiss Stock Exchange is called SIX Swiss Exchange, formerly known as SWX. The SIX Swiss Exchange is the head group of several different worldwide operative financial systems: Eurex, Eurex US, Expeed, StockX, and VertX. The exchange turnover generated at the SWX was in 2007 of 1,780,499.5 million CHF. The number of transactions arrived in the same period at 35,339,296, and the Swiss Performance Index SPI arrived at a total market capitalization of 1,359,976.2 million CHF. Education and research. About 70,000 people study at the 20 universities, colleges, and institutions of higher education in Zurich in 2019. Two of Switzerland's most distinguished universities are located in the city: the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology (ETH) Zurich, which is controlled by the federal government, and the University of Zurich, under direction of the Canton of Zurich. Both universities were listed in the top 50 world universities rated in 2007, while the ETH has consistently remained in the top 10 universities worldwide since 2016. ETH was founded in 1854 by the Swiss Confederation and opened its doors in 1855 as a polytechnic institute. ETH achieved its reputation particularly in the fields of chemistry, mathematics, and physics, and there are 21 Nobel laureates who are associated with the institution. ETH is usually ranked the top university in continental Europe. The institution consists of two campuses, the main building in the heart of the city and the new campus on the outskirts of the city. The University of Zurich was founded in 1833, although its beginnings date back to 1525 when the Swiss reformer Ulrich Zwingli founded a college of theology. Nowadays, with its 24,000 students and 1,900 graduations each year, the University of Zurich is the largest in Switzerland and offers the widest range of subjects and courses at any Swiss higher education institution. The Pedagogical College, the Zurich University of Applied Sciences (JA), and the Zurich University of the Arts (ZHDK) are another three top-class technical colleges which contribute to Zurich's reputation as a knowledge and research. Zurich is also one of the co-location centers of the Knowledge and Innovation, Community Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. In addition to the university libraries, the city is also served by the Zentralbibliothek Zurich, a research and public library, and the Pestalozzi Bibliothek Zurich, a public library with 14 locations. State universities by size in Canton of Zurich. Media. Many large Swiss media conglomerates are headquartered in Zurich, such as TIM Media, Ringier, and the NZZ Verlag. Television and radio. The headquarters of Switzerland's national license fee-funded German-language television network SF are located in the Liuchenbach neighborhood, to the north of the Oerlikon railway station. Regional commercial television station Tele Zürich Television has its headquarters near Escher-Wysplatz. The production facilities for other commercial stations, Star TV, UON TV, and 3+ are located in Schlieren. One section of the Swiss German language license fee-funded public radio station Schweizer Radio DRS is located in Zurich. There are commercial local radio stations broadcasting from Zurich, such as Radio 24 on the Limmatstrasse, Energy Zurich in Seefeld on the Kuhstrasse, Radio Low Ra, and Radio 1. There are other radio stations that operate only during certain parts of the year, such as CSD Radio May/June, Radio Street Parade July/August, and Rundfunk FM August/September. Print media. There are 3 large daily newspapers published in Zurich that are known across Switzerland: the New Zürcher Zeitung NZZ, the Tages Anzeiger, and Blick, the largest Swiss tabloid. All 3 of those newspapers publish Sunday editions. These are the NZZ am Sonntag, Sonntags Zeitung, and Sonntags Blick. Besides the 3 main daily newspapers, there is a free daily commuter newspaper which is widely distributed, 20 minute and 20 minutes, published weekdays in the mornings. A number of magazines from major publishers are based in Zurich. Some examples are Bilanz, Die Weltwatch, Annabelle, Schweizer Family, and Schweizer Illustriert. Culture. In addition to high-quality museums and galleries, Zurich has high-caliber chamber and symphony orchestras and several important theaters. The Zurich Film Festival is an international film festival lasting 11 days and featuring popular international productions. One of the largest and most popular annual events in Zurich is the Street Parade, which is also one of the largest techno and dance music festivals in the world. Proceeding along the side of Lake Zurich, it is normally held on the second Saturday in August. The first edition was held in 1992 with about 1,000 participants. By 2001, the event attracted 1 million participants. The Zurifest, on the other hand, is a triennial public festival. It features music, fireworks set to music, and other attractions throughout the Old Town. It is the largest public festival in Switzerland and attracts up to 2 million visitors. The Kunst Zurich is an international contemporary art fair with an annual guest city. It combines most recent arts with the works of well-established artists. Another annual public art exhibit is the City Campaign, sponsored by the City Vereinigung, the local equivalent of a chamber of commerce with the cooperation of the city government. It consists of decorated sculptures distributed over the city centre, in public places. Past themes have included lions 1986, cows 1998, benches 2003, teddy bears 2005, and huge flower pots 2009. From this originated the concept of the cow parade that has been featured in other major world cities. Zurich has been the home to several art movements. The Dada movement was founded in 1916 at the Cabaret Voltaire. Artists like Max Bill, Marcel Boer, Camel Greaser, or Richard Paul Lohse had their ateliers in Zurich, which became even more important after the takeover of power by the Nazi regime in Germany and World War II. The best-known traditional holiday in Zurich is the Sechsleiten Sechsluch, including a parade of the guilds and the burning of winter in effigy at the Sechsleitenplatz. During this festival, the popular march known as the Sechsleitenmarsch is played. It has no known composer, but likely originated in Russia. Another is the Nadenstchen target shooting competition for teenagers, originally boys, open to female participants since 1991. Opera, ballet, and theaters. The Zurich Opera House, German, Zürcher Opernhaus, built in 1834, was the first permanent theatre in the heart of Zurich and was at the time the main seat of Richard Wagner's activities. Later in 1890, the theatre was rebuilt as an ornate building with a neoclassical architecture. The portico is made of white and grey stone ornamented with the busts of Wagner, Weber, and Mozart. Later, busts of Schiller, Shakespeare, and Goethe were also added. The auditorium is designed in the Rococo style. Once a year, it hosts the Zürcher Opernball with the president of the Swiss Confederation and the economic and cultural elite of Switzerland. The Ballet Zurich performs at the Opera House. The Zurich Opera Ball, a major social event, is held annually at the Opera House as a fundraiser for the opera and ballet companies. The Schauspielhaus Zurich is the main theatre complex of the city. It has two dependences, Foyn in the central city district and Schiffbahal, an old industrial hall, in Zurich West. The Schauspielhaus was home to emigrants such as Bertolt Brecht or Thomas Mann and saw premieres of works of Max Frisch, Friedrich Dürrenmatt, Botho Strauss, or Alfred Jelinek. The Schauspielhaus is one of the most prominent and important theatres in Switzerland. The Theatre Neumarkt is one of the oldest theatres of the city. Established by the old guilds in the Old City district, it is located in a baroque palace near Niederdorf Street. It has two stages, staging mostly avant-garde works by European directors. The Zürcher Theater Spektakel is an international theatre festival featuring contemporary performing arts. The traditional cuisine of Zurich reflects the centuries of rule by patrician burghers as well as the lasting imprint of Huldrych Zwingli's Puritanism. Traditional dishes include Zürcher Geschnitzels and Turgel. Nightlife and clubbing. Zurich is host city of the Street Parade, which takes place in August every year, see above. The most famous districts for nightlife are the Niederdorf in the Old Town with bars, restaurants, lounges, hotels, clubs, etc., and a lot of fashion shops for a young and stylish public, and the Langstrasse in the districts 4 and 5 of the city. There are authentic amusements, bars, punk clubs, hip-hop stages, Caribbean restaurants, art house cinemas, Turkish kebabs and Italian espresso bars, but also sex shops or the famous red light district of Zurich. In the past 10 years, new parts of the city have risen into the spotlight. Notably, the area known as Zurich West in District 5, near the Escherwiss Square, and the S-Bahn station of Zurich Hardburg. Sports. Zurich is home to several international sport federations. The Fédération Internationale de Football Association FIFA is headquartered in the city. In 2007 were inaugurated the new FIFA headquarters building, designed by architect Tilla Hughes. Association football is an essential aspect of sports in Zurich. The city is home to 2 major Swiss football teams, Grasshopper Club Zurich founded in 1886 and FC Zurich founded in 1896, both competing in Switzerland's highest league. Among the most popular sports in Switzerland is ice hockey. In Zurich it is represented by the ZSC Lions. The International Ice Hockey Federation, IF, officiating as head organization for ice hockey leagues worldwide, is based in Zurich as well. Cycling is a popular sport as well as a means of transport in Zurich. Cycling routes are generally marked with red and white signs, and the yellow lanes are exclusively meant for cyclists. Also, hiking trails are well marked with yellow signs, which give the hiker the probable time it will take them to reach their destination. There are specific maps available for hiking and walking trails throughout Switzerland. Some of the most accessible walks in the Zurich area are the Uetliberg and the Zurichberg. The Affine Rennbahn, otherwise known as the Oerlikon Velodrome, deserves a special visit on any Tuesday evening in the summer. For cyclists, there are chances to see time trial champions or local Swiss national cyclists challenging other amateurs in a variety of races, including Madison or Cairn events. As many as 30 clubs and 7 indoor curling facilities can be found in the greater Zurich area. The curling season starts in early September and continues until the end of April. Zurich is Switzerland's hub for lacrosse. The Zurich Lions lacrosse academics, who play their home games at the Hochschulsportvillage Fluntern, have been the country's dominant team and a major competitor at international events. Weltklasse Zurich, sometimes referred to as the One-Day Olympics, is a one-day athletics meet held annually at the Letzigrund Stadium. Since it started on 12 August 1928, the sporting event has witnessed new world records and national records. To date, as many as 24 world records were set in Weltklasse. Zurich Marathon is a popular sport event, inviting numerous athletes from every corner of the globe. Zurich Marathon is a long-distance running event covering 42.195 km 26.219 mi at one stretch. The running course starts in Zurich and passes through Bahnhofstrasse, Bellevueplatz, Mithenquai, Quaybruch, Talstrasse and Utequai, and along Lake Zurich to several other places. New Year's Eve Run is another important running event. The race is held on 1 January each year, and the start takes place at midnight exactly. Zurich was one of 6 venues of the 1950, 4 FIFA World Cup, and one of 8 venues of the UEFA Euro 2008. The Euro 2008 games were held in the Letzigrund Stadium. Work on the new Letzigrund was completed in exceptionally quick time, and the stadium opened in August 2007, just 1 year after the demolition of the old arena. Zurich hosted the UCI Track Cycling World Championships 6 times at the Oerlikon Velodrome. The first time was in 1929 and the last time in 1983. Since 2013, The International Open Air Literature Festival Zurich takes place annually in Zurich, presented by Literaturhaus Zürich and Kaufleuten. Zurich also hosted the 1998 World Ice Hockey Championships. The city previously co-hosted the 1953 and 1939 editions. Zurich was also host to the 2012 Men's World Floorball Championships. This was the first time the event had been held in Zurich. Other points of interest. The Schwendingen X, level crossing of tram tracks, necessary because the tunnel uses island platforms for boarding between trams whose doors are on the right while normally outside the tunnel. Passengers board to the outside opposite the boarding area of oncoming trams. Trams normally travel on the right track, but in the tunnel they travel on the left. The Silfeld Cemetery has a vending machine for funeral cards and other mourning supplies. The Oakvilleschimmer Tavern in Zurich's Old Town offers an unusual athletic drinking game called Balkenprobe. The drinker has to pull themselves up on a ceiling beam, cross over to the next beam, then drink a glass of wine with their head hanging down. Notes and references.
Thank you for watching. Consider supporting the channel, leave a like and subscribe.